So this is a maamar that was said Shabbos Parshas Devarim, h'tshel Tafshel 1974. Tziyon bמשפט תפדה. So the last pasuk of the haftarah of Shabbos Chazoin says that Tziyon will be redeemed with mishpat, with justice, the shover and her captives b'tzedakah, through tzedakah and tzedakah. Maybe the Torah, the Alter brings in the Torah, Maimer Medrash al pasuk. So the Medrash on the pasuk that Hashem says in this week's parsha, Hashem Alocha, V'sabris v'sachesed, no, need a pasuk. Thank you. Thank you. Is that Zohar? Sorry. Miss Hannah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, correct. So, as I said, so Hashem, if you will keep the mitzvahs, the neighbors will keep the bris, the covenant, and the chesed. So the Medrash says like this. It's a whole mashal there. Not here in the maamar, he doesn't bring the story in all of the Medrash. So I'll just read it as he quotes here, just the relevant parts. It's a mashal of a king who married, and she brought two arisin. Arisin means precious gems or chains, ornaments. So he gave her two ornaments. She lost them. He took it away. She recovered them. He gave them to her again. He set them again. Set them. It seems like they're like stones set in a setting. So here's the quote here. So Avraham, Nosan Levon of Shnei Arisin, Avraham bequeathed, gave to his children. So these two arisin, again, what arisin means is precious ornament. No. Shenema ki daitiv, Hashem said about him, I know him, that v'shomru derech la'aseh tzedakah mishpat, he will keep. He's commanding his children. I know him. What is he? Why is he special to me? Hashem is saying in the context why he's going to tell them what he's doing. Tzedakah, etc. So he's going to tell his children after him and bequeath to them that v'shomru derech la'aseh tzedakah u'mishpat. So these are the two hadisim, is tzedakah and mishpat, which is the subject of the pasuk here. Tziyon b'mishpat tipada v'shaveh b'tzedakah. The Medrash continues. Afa Kadosh Baruch Hu zokaf alen shnei hadisim kenegdon. So the Eibishter responds and gives us these two gifts, and that is the one quoted in the pasuk, which the Medrash began with from Parshas Eikev, that Hashem says He will no, it's a different pasuk. Chesed v'rachamim, that Hashem will give us kindness and mercy. No, I need to have the Medrash. It's not quoting the Pesukim, not giving me the source. Anyway. So the Eibishter gave them chesed. It's not a pasuk there, the Eibishter give them, the Eibishter is bestowing upon them chesed and rachim. It's not our pasuk. the Yisrael, the Kishra, then the Yidden, as I mentioned, there's some missing the whole story here of how it was lost and recovered. So then the Yisrael, he's not giving the Moshel, only the Nimshal, and only even part of the Nimshal. So the Yisrael, the Kishras, Atzmam, and the Yidden made themselves kosher again. And so they gave the Yishta back the two Chesed and Racham that they lost. The tzedakah or mishpat that they began with, they lost, for which they got chesed and rachamim. They're no longer observing tzedakah or mishpat. Now they are shekach siv. So this is what the Yidden now have done in the tshuva. Tziyon b'mishpat tefda v'shaver b'tzedakah. So af hakadosh baruch hu hevi shaloi. Able to respond in kind to the Yidden now, recovering them. Their tzedakah and mishpat, which began with Avram, they lost it, now they got it back to tshuva. So he too restores what he had given originally. Shekach ksiv, the pasuk says, keharim yamushu, mountains will move. However, v'chazdacha miyitcha, but my kindness from you will never. Amar Meracham Mechavaya, says the one who has the God of compassion over you. So the Eibishter restored his chesed and rachamim. That's what we see here. That he gave originally the chesed and rachamim. And he is now restoring it. Which is the chesed and rachamim pasuk I don't have. Yeah. It isn't the Medrash.
Oh no, sorry, it's Zion, not
that.
Medrash Zion.
Yeah, get Medrash Shabbos. What is this? It's a very nice.
Safari.
How do you get it in English?
Safari is some stuff is translated, some stuff isn't. The Medrash Zion.
So if I don't see it, 1 second, keep on going. At the end of it. I'm in Zion now. What? Anyway, just we get the point here. So the summary is as follows: that Avram gave and Yidden observed tzedakah and mishpat. In response, they should use back chesed and rachamim. We lost it. We stopped observing it. Then we rectified kishur, lashon kosher. They rectified themselves. Al pasuk Tziyon b'mishpat tefda v'shaver b'tzedakah, and the Eibishter responds with chesed and rachamim again. It had been withdrawn and now returned. All right. So what's being matched up over here is tzedakah and mishpat on our behalf, and chesed and rachamim on the Eibishter's behalf. Right. That's what's clear here. So the Alter explains in the Kotei Torah, shebechinas rachamim v'chesed. At the level of the later rachamim, the second time, and imshachas like mishpat tzedakah. No, this is originally Avram already offered tzedakah mishpat. Maybe to respond with rachamim and chesed, and he changes the order. I don't know why. Okay, so the rachamim and chesed and imshachas adi mishpat tzedakah bechinas ladas b'yosef. So rachamim and chesed that comes as a result of the avodah. Again, he reverses it. Mishpat and tzedakah. Tzedakah before mishpat and rachamim before chesed, even though in the psukim is the other way. In all the psukim consistently. That's interesting. At any rate, so the rachamim and chesed, the Eibishter that comes through the avodah of mishpat and tzedakah and bechinas ladas b'yosef are much loftier. Then what? Then standard rachamim and chesed. as he goes on to explain. What's the rachamim? Now, he's also matching up that mishpat elicits rachamim, and chesed and tzedakah elicits chesed, right? For the two things that we're doing, avodah of Yidden, which is mishpat and tzedakah, what do we get? We get chesed and rachamim. So he matches up now. What is the level of rachamim that mishpat elicits? This is the level of Yom Kippur. It's revealed Yom Kippur. There's levels to it. The highest level is Yom Kippur. That level of rachamim. Actually, no. He means to say rachamim stam. There's rachamim stam, and then there's Gimel Midas Rachamim, which is revealed on Yom Kippur. That is elicited as a result of the avodah of a Yid's mishpat. Yeah. Now he's in square brackets. What's the association? The mishpat b'chlal shaykh l'seres mitzvah. Mishpat, of course, is a time of judgment connected to seres mitzvah. Shalachay neim nemoza amalach hamishpat. Hashem is then described as a malach hamishpat. It's the theme of the day, both ways. Theme of this month. The main thing is not the Seres Mitzvah, but what's revealed Yom Kippur. That's the shleimus of Seres Mitzvah. Summary: through the avodah of mishpat, of judging ourselves. Since we're being judged by Hashem, so we have to the time you're being critically judged, you judge yourself to be judged worthy. So, conclusion that the avodah of mishpat of a year, to be explained later, obviously, is mamshech what? Not stam rachamim, but yudgimel b'des rachamim, which culminates in Kippur. Is this only in Yom Kippur? We'll see. Seems not. Okay, now, b'chinas ha-chesed, dan mishad tzedakah, at the level of chesed. Now we understand why he put rachamim first and then chesed, because chesed is higher. The chesed, which is doing through tzedakah, which appears also second in the pasuk. First is what mishpat and then tzedakah. All right, so the chesed is what then through tzedakah. The ma'ila gav b'chinas midas rachamim is even higher than you give me midas rachamim. Going ascending. Mishpat elicits, you give me the sarachamim, and tzedakah elicits this chesed even higher. And what is that? This is the pnimius of the supernal chesed. It's bound up with the Ein Sof mamish, not the standard chesed of Atzilus, but rather chesed the Ein Sof. Now, when's that vikir is galus b'chinas chesed elyon? The main is galus is b'chag HaSukkos. This is, he means literally the whole avodah of Elul and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur and Sukkos is all a hemshech to Churban, sin and Churban, the house destroyed, now the house rebuilt, the relationship restored. And the shleimus of it, of the Yigim Mitzrachim through our Avodah, is Yom Kippur, and the shleimus of the Gili of Chesed through our Avodah is Sukkos.
What does it mean in previous Chesed?
Pnimius Chesed, the inner level of the Chesed, Elyon of the Ein Sof Mamish.
Pnimius of Chesed, which is the Pnimius of...
No, the Pnimius of the Chesed Elyon that is present in Ein Sof. There's the manifested Chesed, that's Atzilus. And then there's the Chesed as it is bound up with the Eivishter, which is obviously relatively infinite compared to Atzilus. So this is the Pnimius at that level.
pre-expression.
Yeah, Chesed is bound up mamish with David himself. Yeah, higher than usual Gilui. So that's revealed when, on Sukkot. We'll get more detail later, but just getting the. When we look at the Torah, but me Pri Chaim, as he brings the Torah from Pri Chaim, right from Chaim Vital, from that is al Sukkos of Chinas Tzedakah. That Sukkos is the union of what? Of Tzedakah, and Tzedakah elicits this, the avodah of Tzedakah that we do, elicits the Chesed Elyon on Sukkos. Okay, that's the clear so far summary. It's technical. We have to understand it, but first have to understand what we have to understand. So he said, we're bringing the Medrash, but that the Medrash talks about the Yidden's avodah, starting with Avraham, losing it, and then Hashem's response then, and then the losing it, that's the meaning of Churban and Chet, and Hashem restoring it. And what is Hashem restoring? What are we doing? We're giving two things. We're giving Mishpat and Tzedakah. And Eibishter responds with Chesed and Rachamim. Or Rachamim and Chesed, to make it correspond to the order of the Pasuk. And his point is that there is regular Rachamim and Chesed, and then there's Rachamim and Chesed that comes as a result of the Avodah of the Yid of Mishpat and Tzedakah. And he identified it. The regular Rachamim is regular Rachamim. It's Rachamim Datzilus, the Teferes of Datzilus. But through the Avodah of Mishpat, you give him Midas Rachamim. And when is that revealed? B'Shleimus, I said to make sure, but B'Shleimus in Kippur. What's the level of Chesed to be elicited through Tzedakah? It's even higher than it's higher than even with Gilum Midas Rachamim, and certainly far beyond the ordinary Gili of Chesed of Atzilus. And what is it? Chesed of Ein Sof. And when is that revealed? B'Shleimus and Sukkos. Okay, clear? Outline is clear. Yeah. Yesh l'haisa b'zeh. And the Rebbe adds, Pi Amavur Shom. In light of that, which the Rebbe says in the Gilin Mishpat, that explains that the avodah of Mishpat, Shal Yodin, we didn't say what it is yet at all, but whatever it is, Shal Yodin, Nashis Amshachas B'chinas Rachamim, that this brings down Rachamim. Now he tells us, what is it? In addition to the first meaning of Mishpat, which it means Limedat Torah, as that Rebbe brings there from the Targum Onkelos, from the word Kimishpat Rishona, he says the Kilchas Akadmaisa, that it goes on, that Mishpat goes on Torah, Halacha. In addition to that, it also refers to, as we just mentioned, the judgment that a person does with himself. Self-judgment. It's also implied in the avodah of Mishpat. Limedat Torah, and particularly Halacha, as explained elsewhere in Chassidus from the Targum, and self-judgment, in brackets, al derech mavur binyan aksisa v'abitush. Similar to what it says in other places, look at the Torah, aksisa, crushing, and bitush, likewise, kind of crushing. Yeah. And bitush is, say a person gets a bitush, he gets a crushing rebuke. But it's a self-inflicted, as it were. So it's explained elsewhere that when a person does this avodah of bittul, in other words, and he's very, very demanding and critical of himself, not chas v'shalom, it leads to depression. But the being demanding and critical leads to transformative avodah. So elsewhere explained the same, it mentions the same thing. That this is mamshech, the Eibishter's infinite compassion. Through the avodah of mishpat. which we have now said means two things. In addition to the standard meaning Torah, it also means the self-judgment. So in light of this, Yesh Levayer, this was now, with having said we just did, we can explain also Gam HaShaykh Mashakosov, the connection to this pasuk, which is Sim B'mishpat Tefada V'Shaver B'Tzedakah. So what's the context of the pasuk? Shemoid al Yedidus HaGolos. It's describing a matzav of Golos. We have to be redeemed, and there are captivities. Tefada and Shaveha. Shenimtzoim b'mayim. We're talking in a matzav here. Where is the mishpat and tzedakah? Who's doing it? It's a matzav of a person in Golos. Right? Tefada, Shaveha. So what's the point is? Shenimtzoim b'matzav, that they eat in the matzav. Shetzorich, the pdia, he needs redemption. He needs redemption. Tefada, ula shava, and to be returned, the shaver captives min hagoyla, from exile. So here the shaver means to return. B'frat la pirush, especially according to the pirush, the shaver is not just return, but also shvuim, that you're being in captivity.
Rescued.
Huh?
Rescued.
Yeah, you're working for the enemy. Captivity. So what's the part of the pshat? There's two types. This is b'frat la pirush. Let's look up the Radak. I don't know what it is. The first pshat, v'shaveha Tziyon b'mishpat Tefada, Tziyon be redeemed to mishpat. V'shaveh, and she will return b'tzedakah. That's one pirush. V'shaveh means in captivity, a deeper golos. Understand? First one is just talking about using two words, redeemed and returned. Second taich is from Kote Torah, which not Pashup Pshat, is Shavel, captivity, which is a deeper goals. So back to the context that the pasuk is talking about the avodah of mishpat and tzedakah, which we said elicits. You give me the sarachamim and chesed insof. When is this elicited? Sheyesh ilu godly yoser v'hamshachas b'chinas rachamim v'chesed. That there's the greatest hamshacha of this rachamim, the eibush rachamim chesed. When are they mishpat and tzedakah, which is man hagolus, not stam the avodah mishpat and tzedakah, but it's happening in the time of a golus. It's the context of this pasuk. Why is that? Because dafka the yedid is golus, because it's dafka through the yedid in golus and the return from there, the tshuva from there, the mishpat and the tzedakah. That's when we reach the highest levels. So the ultimate tzedakah and mishpat is dafkin zman golus, and that elicits, because that's the pasuk here. It's that which elicits the give me the sarachamim and the chesed, the insof. Yeah? We go further? Yes, we're clear? And this inyan should dafka the dafka through the yerid, talking golus and captivity. And in golus and captivity, the avodah of mishpat, judging self and Torah and tzedakah, eliciting the highest divine response. So this dafka the idea that by meilin God will be yoser. So this inyan that through the descent one achieves the greatest ascent. Mudigish gamba posuk. It's underscored in the pasuk, the opening pasuk of the second chapter of Eicha. The pasuk, the perek begins Eicha yoiv ba'apoy. And it's all Eicha, how, wondering, astonished at the magnitude of the desolation and so on. Eicha yosh l'boda, that's how it begins, how desolate Yerushalayim sits, she sits. So that's the first parak. The second parak is Eicha Yoiv Ba'apoi. How great Yoiv means cloud. Ba'apoi with his anger. How great was the darkness literally of his anger. Yoiv Ba'apoi. So we're going to explain this passage b'pnimius. On the surface, it's describing a terrible matzav of a dark cloud, literally, in Hashem's anger, vented against Yerushalayim. He's going to explain it b'pnimius. Behektim did Yedua Mashakos Hatzamachtek b'Mishim Mesim Megillas Eicha, and by first prefacing with the Tzemach Tzedek writes in his Yeshimis, his notes literally on Megillas Eicha, quote, Al derech shaklolis yehovchol lebrachas, just like the klolis of the teichacha will be transformed into brachas, and the primis they are already. In Kenya Shleima Gamkin Eicha La'aliyos. So he goes and explains all the psukim of Eicha, which lament the churban on the surface level of the pasuk, explaining it all as bracha, as milas. He explains the psukim there with which Eicha begins, how she sits bothered alone, forlorn, forsaken. He explains it there, Gam the Maliyusa, also virtuously, as brachas and as praise. Mashakos, and that which he says, Tzemach Tzedek, she says, Al derech shaklolis yehovchol lebrachas. This is like Hashem's promise. It's a promise to us that all of the curses will be turned into brachas. Movement is understood. It's not talking about the teichacha per se. Bachlal is a step, but the pasuk, Abish's promise that if we keep it at the end, the tshuva, keep his mitzvahs, the klolos are turned into brachas, as happened with Bilam. Moving, Shem shakpiris maliyusa shebateichacha shebateres Moishe. So it is that too. So just like the pirish, the virtuous pirish of the teichacha, Sefer Vayikra, Sefer Dvarim, in Teres Moishe, ubachala psukim shabbats, all the psukim. Kenegam benegiyah le'Megillas Eicha shekosem Yirmiyah. Likewise, it's not just one pasuk or a hint here or there, but all of the psukim of Eicha that Yirmiyah wrote. Since the Tzemach Tzedek draws the analogy to the klolos and to the teichacha, so the same the Rebbe is saying that applies to the Megillas Eicha, that all of the psukim, the pnimius, are aliyas brachas. Yeah? Yes? Befrat, from Kabbalah especially, is this can be appreciated in light of Kabbalah. Yirmiyah will Gilgul Nitzot Shel Moshe. Yirmiyah was a Nitzot, a reincarnation, a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu. Shalachem Shneim Nisnabu Be'echa. Both use the word Eicha. As Moshe Rabbeinu and Dvarim Eicha, Ucha Lavadi, how can I alone carry you? He uses the word Eicha. It's in Parshas Dvarim. It's always said in the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av. So this is the same Lashon of Yirmiyah. Why? Because of the reincarnation, at least the nitzitz of Moshe was in Yirmiyah. So therefore, the conclusion, Shakpirish Balayusu, who explaining these psukim virtuously, later at the psukim Eicha Yoshva, not only in the pasuk Eicha Yoshva, which the Tzemach explains, and the Gamba psukim Eicha Yoiv, this pasuk we are describing now in the dark, in the cloud, and the anger of B'chol Megillas Eicha, and in time Megillas Eicha. So now that we're going to address this pasuk.
Okay, that's my question. Why do you bring this positive?
Because this pasuk brings out, it's out of his base, that the Yerida, from the Yerida comes to the biggest Eloi. That the Avodah of Mishpat and Tzedakah, Dafke, in Zman HaGolos, elicits the greatest divine response.
He's going to explain how we see it in this.
Yeah, he started saying that. He introduced it by saying, the second line of his base, this is underscored also in this pasuk. Then he introduces by saying that, bottom line, all of Megillas Eicha, just like the Klolos and Teichacha, the Pnimius HaBrachas, so to the whole Megillas Eicha. That's a Tzedek going to explain the opening pasuk, I think. But the Rebbe is now going to explain the zero in on Perek Beis, this first pasuk, which expresses what we're trying to, what he's expressing here, how through the Yerida is the ultimate aliyah. Let's see. Rashi Pirish Yoiv. So Rashi says in the word Yoiv, Yafil, make dark. The Omar, like the pasuk says, it's a pasuk where Melachim, Hashemayim iskadru bavim, the sky became darkened with clouds. No, this is this. I'm sorry. This is so where is he explaining it? So Tzaddik is explaining this in Megillah Eicha. So far, it's not the Rebbe's. The Tzemach Tzedek is explaining this pasuk. So then I don't understand. He brought the Tzemach Tzedek in his base to say that it's not, goes to the whole Megillah Eicha. And what's the Raya? The Tzemach Tzedek says there that it's like the Kolos and Teichacha. That if it's understood, it's all the psukim. Then he goes and brings it as if the Rebbe is going to explain the pasuk, and then brings the Tzemach Tzedek on this pasuk. So it could be the diuk is that Tzemach Tzedek does not explain all the psukim, and he's just pointing out it's true of all of them, even though he does explain this one. Let's see the Pirish. Shein Ovim v'Oifa, what's the cloud and the darkness? Zeh, referred to in the pasuk. That Malchus of Kedusha descends into this dark world to give Hashpah to Malchus of Klippa. How is it hinted in the pasuk? Eicha Yoiv. She Yarda Bas Tziyon, that the daughter of Tziyon, which goes on Malchus, descended, this Labish Bekisoy of, descended to be enclosed in a thick covering. Actually, Yechid Lala is such that it cannot ascend from there. V'hu Gimel Klippas, this is even lower, Shlamatim Klippas Nagia. He's not before he only mentioned Klippas Noiga, but that was in general. He said Chulu. Now it's going to the Pratim, that it's the descent of Malchut, which means the Yid and the Shechina into Mamish, the world of Avedis, of concealment. Achim calls that's what it's Eichoy. That's what the pasuk means. The Eichoy Yariv Gevald, what happened, how the Shechina, Malchus, and the Neshamas Yisrael have been descended into this darkness. But through tshuva they can ascend. Mamshech. Tzemach Tzedek continues. Shadei Tzedakah Azay through Tzedakah that he does. V'zarach b'choshech oirech, and your darkness will shine. The alfosech, in other words, for darkness, katzaroyim, like the midday when the sun is shining. Afela means darkness. Shebchinas afela hanal, from this very darkness, Yetzeler Gadol, Yidden will emerge into great light. This is the great light that comes dafka from darkness. For Oznem, when we transform the dark cloud, the darkness and the Aveda through tshuva, so what's the result? So this is the result is, as Yeshaya says, describing the Geula, mi Eila, who are these? Ka'av to a fennel, that they fly like a cloud, referring to the Yidden all coming back to Yisrael. So there he also invokes a cloud. But obviously, here, the cloud is a cloud in Kedusha, the Maliyusa. That came as a result of the negative cloud of the tshuva, the avodah of tzedakah and mishpat in that matzah. We're clear? Yeah? Omer Razal, this is a medrash. Zochu, if we merit, Mailon, the Eibush elevates us, Moreimamon, and exalts them ka'av like a cloud. Shanam, we're bringing the pasuk we just quoted, Me'elakov to Ofeno. Who are these? Like an astonishment, this wondrous Gilui achievement, Yidden flying like the cloud. So, all to say, the avodah tshuva, the negative cloud, becomes the positive one. Mokeh machan is baya. Let's just finish this. As was explained. Goes into the detail now. So we'll just start it off. Shesh beis b'chines of on the two levels of cloud, and none is also another word for cloud. Ale b'klipa is the negative cloud. Klipa, which caused Merkavas Yecheskel, as Yecheskel saw that whole vision of the Merkava, he also saw Klipa. He described it as he saw the Shadish of it. Ruch Sa'ara, a stormy wind, Bom and Aksofin, coming from the north, that's Tzimtzum, and Nan Godel, the great cloud. That's the negative cloud. Then there's Vadbeis, the second Bekadusha, Naila, a very lofty level. And what's that? Which goes Val Posik, La Yochel Moishe, Lovi Loyal Moyed. Moishe couldn't enter, Kishachan Olav Ha'onam, for the cloud rested on it. That is the cloud of Kedusha. There's more detail, we'll revisit that after Tisha B'Av. Shouldn't be a Tisha B'Av as we know Tisha B'Av, and the Sazayna, Verbringen, that will Verbringen will be good.